Hey guys, it's Vito speaking here from withoutculturalbar.com. Today I'm just going to show you quickly how you can deploy any Java application into Azure Web Apps and App Service specifically. You need to bear in mind that this demo that I'm actually showing is just for general Java, and even though that I'll be focusing on Spring, there is a separate tools for Spring applications and easier deployments for Spring, and you should use Spring apps for that. But just for the sake of showing how the app service works, this is just a demo. Okay, so I'm going to start from a very simple and basic project. We're just going to create a new project. Okay, I'm just going to go for new project. We will use a Spring initializer for that. We'll call it bananas. I think it might be taken, so I'm going to go for bananas, let's say 33. Okay, my preference is generally Maven, and on the next page for the Spring we'll use some web options. I'm going to go for a Spring Web, we'll use some template. Maybe we'll just also add actuator as a good practice. And create a project. New window. So the Maven is being indexed at the moment. We'll create a simple page. That'll be okay. Just for the sake of demo. And we'll also add a quick controller. It's just basics, just to get our application running and display something very basic. So this is our application. I believe this is something that should be working. Let's give it a go. We need to build it first, so let's build it. Bananas. Okay. Okay, let's give it a try. And we'll use curl 1.0.0.1.80.80. Okay, so the application is confirmed, so it's working. We have it built, and now we are coming to the most interesting part from our perspective, which is the deployment to Azure. So in order to deploy web app to Azure, what we'll use is a plugin from Microsoft. Microsoft Azure. It's not this one. It's Azure, that's the correct one, and I believe that the latest version is 2.9.0. So this plugin will basically update our POM with the correct configuration once we start the plugin task for configuration, and at later stage we use also deploy feature. Okay, so we're gonna go and we are going to so we'll need to configure it first with all the right values. You run the current configuration, yes, Linux sounds right, Java 17, and we'll go for cheap and cheerful B1, which is a basic plan without deployment slots, a shared plan, just to get us going. Okay, so once we're here, our POM will be updated with the new content. As you can see, we have a resource group ID, app name, and other stuff. If we run again the configuration, it will ask us about more, right? Which is interesting. If you go to the application, you can change the application name. So we're going to go for bananas, for just bananas 33, and I will also change our resource group. We can go for the region Central US, I believe, and go for the plan B1, and we'll confirm it. Now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to log out because I believe that I might have been previously logged into Azure. I'm going to log into it, into my account. And what I normally kind of tend to do is I tend to add here into configuration my subscription. So you can add here into your subscription ID. This is a step that you might not need. You might actually skip this step, but given that I have a number of different subscriptions, I'm just going to prefer to be explicit about it. And I think that's it. This should be the right configuration. It should create an app service and it should deploy the Java, as long as it all meets the requirements on the Azure side. So what we're going to do now, we're going to run Maven com Microsoft Azure deployment, and we'll see if it's going to work or not. At this step, we might experience various issues. One of the issues that I had previously was the incorrect region, and I'm also expecting this problem again. We're seeing the deployment failed. It's all JSON, but you need to find out really what is wrong with here. So the message is resource is disallowed, policy on the identifiers, allowed locations, and we can see that load of locations are East US stage, and so on. So we're going to go for West Europe because we're in Europe. We're going to change the location from Central US into West Europe and retry it. It may take some time for the deployment to happen. Depends on different problems or connectivity issues or Azure itself. But generally, it's a very straightforward and quick process. So I need probably another 30 seconds for it to finish. So as you can see, it starts from creating of the app service plan, and once the app service is in place, it creates a web app and then deploys the actual jar in this case. In Azure, we can use also WAR and Dockers, but for now I'll just use a simple Tomcat embedded Spring Boot jar. We're hoping right now to see the deployment succeeded. We can see that deployment is in progress. And it's still in progress. Okay, and it's successful. So it took us a little longer than previously when I was trying it, but we are finally there. We're gonna go for bananas, and we're gonna hope to see some results. So as we can see, ALI. I thought it was API or app, but anyways, it's fine. The application has been successfully deployed. It's all is running fine. Okay, so the application is running fine, and we can go now to Azure portal, log into it. I'm gonna go for our bananas, and you can see the logs here. Sorry, in the log stream you can see the logs. Something is happening here. We can, apart from checking logs, we can also use our Azure WebApp log tail. Yeah, so that's another way of checking the logs and actually stringing them from Azure. And I think that's it for this video. There's a couple of more considerations that you need to take into account. So just first of all, as I said at the beginning, is when you are deploying Spring Boot, you should consider using Spring Apps. I'll create a separate video on that. The second thing is about privileges and policies. So it might turn out that your deployment will fail because you will not have right privileges in your account. If you have created just your own free account to try, you should have no problems like that. The second thing is about policies. So it might turn out that on the bigger project, or there might be in your specific subscription, there might be policies requiring you to create tags or apply tags beforehand, and your deployment may fail. So whenever there's an error, mistake, there's a problem reported with the deployment, just read carefully what's the problem there. It might turn out that you'll need to create the app service beforehand and not rely on the POM or the plugin itself. Another thing that you should definitely take into account and you should do is health checks. So if you go to your portal, make sure that you add and enable health check, because by default it is disabled. Then use CI/CD pipelines. And finally, consider what you're going to do with logs, whether you're going to send them somewhere or you're going to process in some sort of like a specific way, and also add some observability features. So when the application goes down, you will be notified about it. That's it. I think that's the basics. I think that the next step will be to connect to database. So we'll need to create appropriate database and connect it. That's all from my side. Thank you. Bye.